I'm Morgan.
And I'm Jake, and this is
Neverland Navigation Radio.
And today we're taking a look around, and we're seeing some things that maybe could use a little helping hand of refreshed magic.
But is it
Walt
refresh
Disney
or is
World.
it, we're going to talk about both, right? Like
Yes.
a little bit of extra magic or a total rehaul?
A lot of extra
Is that
magic.
the word?
Yes, yeah, a total like refresh. Yeah, new IP.
Yes,
New...
like what they did to Tiana's.
Yeah, or like the Maelstrom Frozen transformation.
You didn't need to make me cry.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought it up. You're right. That was
that one's not as bad as the Great Movie Ride.
That was a deep cut.
Yeah, because at least I like the Frozen ride.
Yes, and there have been a lot of successful updates throughout Disney history.
Yeah, like Guardians.
Like Guardians, which was nothing, and is now...
Well,
just kidding. It was the universe of energy. I was like, what?
That was brutal. It was nothing. Poor Bill Nye.
No, I just forgot because they built the show building in a spot that was nothing.
Right.
But they reused the building as the queue.
Yeah.
So yeah, it used to be the universe of energy. That's a great example because people weren't writing it, you know?
Right.
No
I'm not saying I didn't like it. I liked the universe of energy, but I mean, it's nothing compared to Guardians Cosmic Rewind, which is my favorite ride of all time.
Yeah, that one stole your heart.
It stole my heart.
And it was very obvious that it needed a refresh. I especially feel like when they put celebrities in rides, it makes them more obviously
dateable.
Yes. Right?
I totally agree. You know, I had not thought about that until you said it, but now that you said it, you're so right.
Because Ellen in her 90s attire in that ride was really...
Yeah.
That was tough. When it started to get older.
I think that
sometimes it's just time.
I don't know if I'm right, although my mom is a second grade teacher and I feel like we've talked about this, but Bill Nye is still a little relevant with kids because teachers will show, Bill Nye the Science Guy reruns. Not as much. Some schools, I'm sure it's not all schools, are starting to get a little strict about what they can show, which is, you know.
Right.
But anyway, so I think kids still know who he is. I wonder if kids even know who Ellen is at this point.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, she's Dory.
Any of you kids out there know who Ellen is?
She's Dory.
They might not have seen her face, though.
True.
Yeah, they know that fish.
Yeah.
That fish.
That sounds like Dory.
Hey, that lady who loves Jeopardy sounds just like Dory.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes it's just time. And so, you know, when Disney makes changes, sometimes people love it, sometimes people hate it. Before, I've got a little... list here of things that went well and things that went badly that we can get into. But before we dive into that, I did want to say thank you so much for listening to the pod or watching if you're on YouTube. We really appreciate having you.
Yeah.
If you're on a listening platform like Apple or Spotify podcast, hello. If you want to help our show here, subscribing and leaving a review is the best way you can do that. It means a lot to us and really helps the channel. And if you want to visit our YouTube channel for weekly visual versions of the podcast, we are online there at youtube.com/Neverland Navigation Co. And there you can find not only like reviews and stuff from the park, but also the full-length visual version of each week's episode.
Yeah, and now we've done so many podcasts that our YouTube channel is mostly that. But we have done a lot of dining reviews and stuff like that on YouTube.
It's true.
Yep, and if you're planning any kind of a trip, Disney or otherwise, please send me an email at neverlandnavigationco@gmail.com and let's talk about it because I can get you the same deal you would get yourself by booking yourself online or better. Plus you get free deal monitoring by me and you get free trip t-shirts.
Yeah.
So, or whatever custom t-shirts you want. I have a 5-star Etsy shop where I do soft t-shirts with sublimation ink and might as well get your freebie. If you're going to spend money on your trip, let me help you with it. Free shirts.
Yes, I am wearing a shirt from the Neverland Navigation Co. Etsy shop today, and it was fabulous and colorful and soft and all of the good things.
All the good things.
So yeah, those are great benefits. And I know obviously you're listening to a Disney World podcast, but Morgan books all kinds of trips. So if you need, if you're going on a vacation soon, you might as well have all of the benefits of having a travel agent at no additional cost to you.
Yeah. The company that you're going to pays me, but they don't charge you more. So it's kind of like you're able to help out a small business without doing anything that you weren't going to do anyway. So very cool.
Yes.
And I appreciate it with my whole heart.
Absolutely. All right, so let's talk a little bit before we dive into this. I've got on here, there are some things that Disney saw that needed an update that are getting an update. So It's Tough to Be a Bug is getting an update over in Animal Kingdom. It will be a Zootopia show called Better Together.
Do you happen to know if it's going to be the same kind of show?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either, but I would assume so because this, that's what they've got. It's the space they've got.
Yeah, it will be you mean like a 3D show in general? Yes, it will, because on the poster art they released at D23, they are wearing 3D glasses.
Oh, and right.
In the very bottom corner, it says that it will be presented in carrot vision, like Judy Hopps' rabbit carrot vibe, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's fun. We'll see the details, I guess, at some point. But yeah, it'll be 3D. I guess I'm excited for that. I like Zootopia 5.
I'm excited that it won't be Bug's Life.
Yeah.
And you know what might be good for us is we're going to go into it with not super high expectations, which is probably good for us because we've had a recent experience where we went into something with super high expectations and it was didn't quite measure up.
Right, and we will get into that as well. The other thing I had on here was Dinosaur at Animal Kingdom is it's going away and going to be refreshed as an Indiana Jones attraction.
I think one that would have made the list had we been writing this a year or so ago would have been Primeval Whirl, but maybe not Dinosaur. At that point, we probably would have just been happy with some mechanical fixes, but not scrapping.
A total change. Yeah, I totally agree. I think it would have made the list in terms of something that needed to be helped.
Yes.
But not a total,
I'm going to miss the dinosaurs.
Of course.
I'm going to miss, I like dinosaur theme kind of,
Yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah, kids love dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are I feel like one of the safe themes for things.
When I'm looking for little infant clothes for my nephew, I always gravitate towards the cute dinosaur ones.
Colorful dinosaur stuff. I love colorful dinosaur stuff. I really do.
Yeah. I don't know why they're taking all the dinosaurs out. But anyway.
Yeah.
So that's happening.
Yes.
Tom Sawyer's Island.
And Tom Sawyer's Island also. So that's...
And the boat, it wasn't great last time we went, the boat.
Yeah, the boat definitely was showing its age, the entire experience, the narration, what you see when you're on the boat.
How loud it is.
Yeah, the whole thing definitely feels like it could only last so long, and Tom Sawyer Island is not exactly Magic Kingdom's most popular attraction.
Right.
So when we saw those things were being replaced, my heart was a little sad because of the historical value of those attractions, of course. But you also, understand that Disney is constantly evolving. If something is not appealing to guests as much as it used to, then maybe it's time to bring them something new to inspire them to return to the park.
And if I'm correct, they're not getting rid of that in Disneyland, right? So you still have the opportunity to see or experience a Tom Sawyer's Island and the river whole situation over there.
Yes.
And they're not going to get rid of that because of the Phantasmic being performed on it.
And in that way, I feel like Disneyland actually utilizes those assets a little bit better over there because they make a whole show out of Tom Sawyer's Island. Well, there's a stage on the island.
Right, so, where our river will get the occasional alligator, which is a little bit of a safety concern. You know what I mean?
That's always a little scary.
Yeah,
so that it's there are benefits. There are lots of reasons.
with it. I like it when if they're taking out something classic, they leave it at one of the parks. Mm-hmm. They seem to do that a lot. Mr. Toad is something that we lost, but they kept over at Disneyland.
Right.
Snow White's Scary Adventure, same situation. We kept Carousel of Progress where they lost it. We kept Wedway or the People Mover, and they lost it.
Right.
So I'm happy that it's not gone for good, although when we went to Tom Sawyer's Island this past year, during this year, so recently, I was really shocked at how old the animatronics is. It even an animatronic at this point?
I guess
did he move the guy that's sleeping or what? He moves. It looked,
or one of the something moves in there. I don't know if it's an animal or that guy or something.
It looked older to me than the park even is. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pre Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. So I'm not going to miss it.
No, I don't think I'm gonna miss it either. Even though I do have some like fun memories there, I don't. When it's time, it's time.
What's weird for me will just be that the background of the back of Magic Kingdom being different. You know what I mean?
It's gonna feel very different over there. We touched on this a little bit in a previous episode, but such a wide array of themes going into that area. I don't know if everyone realizes that the new Cars area will stretch all the way from the current Frontierland with the Country Bear Musical Jamboree, will stretch all the way over to Liberty Square, where the Haunted Mansion is going to be. And it's going to be, Cars will be there, then the Frontier, then Tiana. It's like quite a wide array of theme.
I assume, but I don't have any idea, that there's going to be some sort of transition, because otherwise it's essentially across the street.
Right.
And it's a totally different landscape.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. The concept art doesn't really answer a lot of those questions to me, in my mind. Mm-hmm. It just kind of lays out where things are going to be. So that'll be exciting. Speaking of major changes, we obviously had to talk about that one because they just announced it, and it's going to be a huge change to that entire side of the park.
And it would have been something that would have made the list if we had not just gotten this news anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, Tom Sawyer's Island needed something done to it.
Right. We had been pondering, will they replace it with like another IP that maybe takes place on an island? Or
we were talking about this earlier, and the thing that neither Jake or I thought of was we didn't think of the river section to be replaceable.
Right.
We just thought, what could they turn this island into? Not, they could just drain and fill the river. That's crazy to me. Like, that's not something that entered my mind as possible.
Yeah, so many people in my world who were not necessarily keeping up with D23, when I explained to them what would be happening in the Magic Kingdom, the first question was always, they're going to fill in the river? Because I don't think it was on anyone's radar that was something that Disney was...
It's shocking. I don't even really understand it. But, I mean, they're probably like, well, we put it in here to begin with. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It's our river, and we'll do with it what we want. Yeah. I guess that's the vibe.
I wonder how deep it is. It might not be deep at all.
I don't know.
I've never seen the bottom, but the boat is on a track, right?
The boat is on a track.
So it can't be that deep.
Right.
Oh, so interesting. We will see. We will see.
Right.
So... did you want to dive into the list?
Let's dive into our list. This is stuff across the Walt Disney World Resort and we'll discuss what we feel. Do we feel like it needs a light maintenance type of refurbishment?
Coat of paint. Just kidding.
Maybe fix some of the broken effects or attractions.
We can't go into all that, right?
No, not specifically. But there was, like, Dinosaur, you could have just said, they need to fix the animatronics.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that's something that I would like to hear added to next D23 is we're going to spend a lot of money on maintenance. Just regular maintenance.
That would be exciting for regular park goers.
Because even a newer ride will have something broken, and I'm like, what?
Yes, we should just get into this.
Let's just say it.
Truly, the reason that this topic came up today for today's recording,
because Jake's a genius,
was because thank you, but no, was because earlier today I got to ride. Morgan had already ridden, but we went together to Walt Disney World, and I got to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure for the first time, and we saw the Country Bear Musical Jamboree for the first time since its major overhaul. And just
both of those major overhauls,
huge overhauls. And well, let's start with Tiana. That was kind of a billboard overhaul of a major attraction in Walt Disney World. Splash Mountain was an institution for years.
Right.
So Tiana's Bayou Adventure was a highly publicized overhaul as well. Got a lot of media attention and online conversation going. So
controversial for sure.
Yes, that's a great word. Controversial refresh on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So I had tried to avoid, being spoiled or people's opinions about it before.
You did good.
I did a pretty good job.
Hey, and I did good. I didn't really tell him what I thought.
Yes, and I appreciate it. Thank you. And then we rode the ride, and I don't know if everybody here who's listening or watching has ridden Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
So, yeah, if you don't want a spoiler, maybe skip ahead a few minutes.
Exactly, yeah.
I'd say 5.
Right.
Okay.
knowing us, maybe 5 or 6 or 7.
Okay, maybe 10.
Right. But I did ride it. I did grow up with Splash Mountain.
Right.
So I rode
So it's
Splash Mountain
nostalgic for
a
us.
lot. So there's some nostalgic, especially the songs. I don't know about you, but for me, the songs
gosh, yeah.
really
Yeah.
were part of that. So I didn't expect to have like feelings about this update so much, but I kind of did. And riding the ride, I was very impressed by the animatronics when they worked, and I was very impressed by some of the actual set dressing, like the new like plants that they've installed everywhere, and the new sets they have for the end finale sequence.
Really gorgeous,
really beautiful.
Yes,
great.
And the animatronics that we're working are like phenomenal. Really kind of mind-blowing.
Articulate expressions are like amazing. It's really a new world of, themed entertainment when it comes to animatronics. They're like mind-blowing. However, it was surprising to me so soon into this ride's opening that we had 2 animatronics that either were malfunctioning or are not right in my brain.
I think they were both malfunctioning.
I think
because I didn't.
Must have been.
I've been on it. I've ridden this ride twice before I rode today, and I didn't notice that either time.
Right. Okay. So you would definitely know.
Yeah.
And they were both of the character Mama Odie.
Yeah, that's
And then the first one, the audio track played, but her mouth did not move when she was supposed to be speaking, and her face was basically off.
Right.
So you got no kind of sense of what she was supposed to be behaving like. And then at the very end of the attraction, when she appears with the snake, she basically was totally stationary. She couldn't rotate or really move her waist at all or her neck at all. So that was kind of
disappointing.
Tough. Yeah, because we also spent a lot of time in front of those animatronics, especially the one at the end, because I think we got held up there.
We got held up. Well, we got held up before the big drop.
For several minutes.
Yes, and like seriously, maybe 10 minutes.
Maybe 10.
And so that made everything else be backed up.
Right. Exactly. And also Morgan was saying it was possible that there were a couple lighting effects that maybe didn't.
I think you missed a lighting effect. I'm going to look it up after we're done recording.
Gotcha. If you guys aren't familiar with the story of this attraction yet, which is completely understandable, there's a point in the adventure where something magical happens to you that is integral to the story of the ride. And
I think we should just say what it is. We told people to skip. And
you're right.
And we're 5 minutes into when we told people to skip. So we've got another 5.
We're still talking about Tiana's.
Yeah, so if you only skipped 5, skip another 5. But the story, the plot is my issue with it. And the first time that I went on the ride, I was so enamored with the animatronics that I didn't really think about how much the plot makes absolutely no sense or that it's really poorly delivered. But now that I've ridden it a few times, it's irking me more and more.
Right.
There is a plot that explains why you're falling down a mountain waterfall situation.
Bayou?
Yes.
Question mark.
Right, because it makes no sense to begin with, because Louisiana is flat-ish. It wouldn't have something like this, I don't think. So we were curious and thinking, what's this plot going to be that's going to get us down the side of the mountain, especially after we heard that Dr. Facilier wasn't going to be in this ride.
Right.
So that takes your villain out. And the plot is that you're going through the ride, you're helping Tiana look for musicians to play at her party. And then at one point, after you found like 12 musicians, she's still not happy. She says you need to look high and low. I know. You need to look high and low for more musicians. And then Mama Odie turns you frog size. But she doesn't tell you she's turning you frog size.
Right.
She's just stirring some mixture. And then you go down what used to be, I believe, slip and falls, where you go down and then up and then down again quickly. And then the next scene you're in, all the frogs are like your size. They're like human-sized frogs, but you're supposed to be frog size now.
Right.
But that's never explained.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get it. I'm a Disney super fan, love the movie. I didn't get it the first time. Jake didn't get it the first time. I'm not sure if I figured it out after going on it a few times, or if I saw on the internet that this is what it was supposed to be, and then I was like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
but it was after the fact.
Yeah. So then you're in this area where you're around musical frogs that are giant,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you get to the big drop, Mama Odie says, oh, we need to make you big again.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's stirring a pot again. And that's why you go down the
Because the bigger you are, the bigger a hit you'll be at the party.
That's one of the lines she says. Like, depending on when you go, it could be a different line.
And so, she has to push you off the side of a mountain.
I guess being turned into human feels like going down the side of the mountain.
I think that's maybe what we're supposed to understand.
Right. So...
does that make any sense? No.
It makes no sense, but also it wasn't explained.
No.
Like, I get that she says we need to make you big again or whatever, but she didn't say anything when she's making you small to begin with.
I couldn't understand what she was saying in her first version of this dialogue, and we were stuck here, so we got to hear both versions.
Yes.
And in the second version, when she says the bigger you are, the more of a big hit you'll be at the party, that's not a good enough reason.
I know.
In my opinion.
And it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
Yes. And the first time that I went on it, we did that slip and falls thing, which you kind of go through a lighting effect that looks a little bit disorienting,
Mm-hmm.
which I get it because you're in the plot. If you knew the plot, turning frog size, and then you come out the other side and there's these big frogs playing music. And I think I turned to my husband when we went on it the first time and I was like, are we supposed to be high? Because it's like there's giant frogs like playing the drums and stuff.
Mama Odie.
Yeah.
I guess.
That was the connection my brain made. Not, you just turned us into a frog. Got it.
I did notice that the things around us had been bigger, but I absolutely...
And they were all frogs.
And they were all frogs. But I absolutely I did not understand what was going on plot-wise, really. Both because I thought it's confusing, and there's nothing in the story that really gets you there until it happens.
They need to change it now. They need to change this, too. So it explicitly tells you, hey, I'm going to turn you into a frog so you can go look for frog musicians or whatever.
I actually think that would be a very helpful revision. I don't know, Disney, if you're open to making a revision to a ride that literally just opened.
Right, didn't even open yet in Disneyland.
But I don't think anyone is understanding what's going on
if
in this
we
ride.
don't understand, like, we're your... You know what I mean?
Yeah, we ride this stuff all the time.
And yeah, we're paying attention to all the details and stuff like that. So in the frog scene too, there's a screen where it looks like huge Tiana's looking down at you, and they do say something, and one of whoever she's with, maybe it was Lewis, says something about us being little, and she says, "Oh, been there, done that," but it's so loud. There's so much going on that I only caught them saying these words the third time I've ridden the ride.
Yeah, I saw Tiana on the screen and I saw Lewis, but it still just didn't connect with me that the reason that she was huge and the reason that she was saying those things was because of this magical transformation. And I also want to point out that these things are all done via screen.
Mm-hmm.
Early on in the ride, the entire story is delivered to you by animatronics of the characters that you know and love from the film.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway through the ride, the important element of the story that gets you down the main drop of the ride is told totally by screens. Not only Big Tiana in a screen, but then Mama Odie, who's doing the magic, is on a screen.
Right.
So usually, if something is on a screen in a ride that is full of practical set dressings and animatronics, you assume that the screens are not as important, especially because they were used previously in the ride as scenic devices, backgrounds to add depth to scenes where there were trees. They added more swamp features in the back via screen, very similar to the technology on Pandora. Navi River Journey. Very similar. They add screens to add a sense of depth to the field of the dark ride. Makes a lot of sense. So then when you get to the important part of the plot, and it's all conducted with the screen dialogue, I feel like a lot of people are going to miss it because they don't think the screens are important
Yeah.
to watch and listen to. And I think I felt that way, or subconscious. You don't actively think.
Right.
It's just subconsciously you're like, oh, that's a screen. They're probably just saying some cute whatever one-off line.
You don't realize you need to get it. Yeah.
They're telling you why you're going over. It's not a good reason, but they're telling you why you're going down the drop and you don't even really know it.
Yeah.
It's just a miss for me. The story.
Yeah. Like I said, the first time I went on it, all I was thinking about was how awesome the animatronics were and how beautiful everything was. So I didn't care. I was just I mean, that's what you've got to be in for this ride for, because the story doesn't work.
And to that end, I actually really think they deliver aesthetically on the world of Princess and the Frog translated into the space that was Splash Mountain. I think they did a really good job of kind of making that work. Which was something I was kind of a little bit worried about because, I don't know, it definitely did that. It lends itself, I feel, to the IP, but you never know how the transition from film to replacing a former attraction is going to go. I feel like they accomplished it aesthetically really well, but the story is a bit of a bummer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, enough of that. Welcome back if you've skipped all the Tiana Bayou Adventure stuff.
Yeah, we went too far.
I have great news, though, and that's that I really loved the Country Bear Jamboree refresh.
Oh, it was so cute.
Yeah.
And funny. If you were worried about it not still being funny, that's what I was worried about, because I love humor in movies. I love humor in my entertainment. It is still funny.
Yes. I was a little bit... I will say I was a little bit concerned with the refresh because making the choice to have the Bears perform Disney's greatest hits, basically, to me was troublesome because I feel like that can come off as very
self-serving,
artificial, hokey, soulless promotion type stuff. However, I feel like they kept so much of the original spirit of the attraction intact that I feel like it really resonated as a more relevant version of the same show.
Yeah.
A version that more audiences got more out of because the kids go, oh, I know that song, I love that song.
Yeah.
And the adults still appreciate the humor, appreciate the aesthetic changes. I will say tech-wise, the animatronics are much more fluid.
Which is amazing. I didn't even expect that. Yeah. I didn't even know you know what I mean? We joked about all the clicking sounds and how old these animatronics seemed, but I didn't think when they said they were going to change it, it seemed like they were putting a Band-Aid on what they felt like was a bad situation, like they were getting maybe bad press, so to speak, for slightly inappropriate songs that these bears were singing for this day and age. And I thought they were just going to Band-Aid it by making them sing different songs without fixing anything, but I was wrong.
No, that was Splash Mountain. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I had that same fear that they weren't really going to make any physical hardware changes.
Yeah.
But they did, and they were all for the better.
Yeah. My favorite characters in the Country Bears have always been the three characters on the wall, and they just give me Waldorf and Statler vibes with their jokes and stuff like that, and they really improved on them.
Yes.
Like, they were really falling apart, you guys. But like now they're fluid, they don't click, they've got all the jokes. When you first walk in, make sure you're listening to them, because they're joking right when you're walking in. Yeah,
I love all of the updated.
And when we go back, you'll hear even more, because when we went today, we were walking in kind of at the back at the end, and we missed a few things.
We missed some of that pre-show material.
And sometimes you can't really hear them because people are clapping. And I think I think that'll keep happening, but I think that there's a lot more clapping when something's brand new.
Yep.
And that'll die down and we'll be able to hear them a little bit better.
Yes, I hope so. Speaking of hearing, I think the sound in there is light years ahead of where it was, which is something I really appreciate. There were a couple little things, like some jokes that I didn't thought really landed with the audience. They didn't laugh, at a couple of them. And Oh boy, there's something else that I was going to bring up, but I totally forgot. Oh, Big Al's like crash at the end. I feel like it left the audience confused. I don't think.
I'm not sure I even understood that.
I don't.
Okay,
I think
great.
he maybe fell backwards. Is what we were supposed to understand.
Okay, well, I mean, I was okay with it because he was kind of like, you know what I mean?
Minor details.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, those are minor details. I think overall, I found the show to be very successful, and I was very happy about it. Anyway, those are kind of some of the changes that have come to the Magic Kingdom recently that we've been excited to experience, and now we finally experienced them.
Yeah. So, you know, there was good and bad with these two things. I mean, I'm really happy with the Country Bear situation. I've got pros and cons on the Tiana situation. If you're going at it for a ride without the story, then, you know, fine. Are there any there's a lot of changes coming to Magic Kingdom, but it's all adding on right now.
Yeah.
But I think we should go ahead and start in Magic Kingdom with some things that we would do a refresher on if we were going to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And some things, you know, like we said in the beginning, when it's time, I feel like usually the entire audience can tell it's time for a slight refresh, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you said you wanted to start in Magic
Well, we're in
Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom. Is that okay to do it that way, or did you want to go with most important?
No, that sounds great. I'm totally down to start in Magic
Kingdom.
Cool. Do you want to start with something supremely obvious that we've talked about several times?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's start with the Tomorrowland Speedway.
Okay.
We could go over all the reasons, but I think everyone knows.
Yeah. If unless this is your first episode with us, you know our gripes about the Speedway.
Welcome. We are begging for the Tomorrowland Speedway to be updated in some kind of way.
At absolute minimum, I want electric cars like California is getting.
California's getting the electric cars.
Really, I'd be okay seeing it go, and it just staying in California.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that too. It's called its original name there, Autopia. It's the original one. I'm happy to keep that.
Sure.
I thought Tron was going to be the certain death of this attraction. It was not.
Then we thought that they said they were bringing a Cars attraction to Magic Kingdom, and we thought, oh, there it is. They're going to turn it into something different. Nope.
Nope. 2 fake outs in a row.
All right.
Yep. So that one's pretty obvious, but there's some other things in Magic Kingdom that also I think could use a little bit of a refresh.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any?
I do. I have one that I didn't see on your list, but I bet you'll agree with me.
Okay.
I think Space Mountain needs a refresh.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, I'd still like it to be Space Mountain. I'm not saying rip it out and turn it into an IP. I think I'd be upset about that maybe, but just it needs to be smoother. Like Disneyland's is smoother. Disneyland's you can sit next to a person. I don't need that, but it's nice.
As someone with long legs, I would really appreciate them not doing the seating arrangement that they're doing.
It does feel like you guys have your knees in your face.
Yeah, it's and especially on a ride that does all of that, all of the dips and turns and all the things that Space Mountain does. It's really the kind of ride where you want more leg room. Right. So I would be forever grateful if they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, not like a retheme, really, just a make it better, smoother. I really, really want it smoother. The sound could be better.
Yeah, I would love, also on Disneyland Space Mountain, they have onboard audio for every single car, which really allows for a heightened experience, and they do overlays there, so they can swap out the audio with when they do Hyperspace Mountain or whatever, the Star Wars overlay that they've done for that. But just in general, onboard audio delivers a much better roller coaster experience for guests. So I would love to see that implemented if they're going to make a major change. I also feel that aesthetically, it's time to do something more than just the star projections that they're doing in there.
Right.
I think it's time to add some other visual reason to be excited to go into Space Mountain, you know?
I also would be thrilled if they would just add a section. I know that would involve adding more of a building, but like to make it a little bit longer. In Disney Paris, they've got a launch at the beginning. I would love a launch for us to make it a little bit more exciting.
Now we're talking.
This roller coaster I can't remember off the top of my head the speed that it goes, but it's pretty low.
Right.
The thrill is really in will you or won't you get your head chopped off. So I would love an elevated coaster experience where that's not the scary part.
Good one.
Thanks.
For sure. Let's stay in Tomorrowland. I have on here Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin.
This needs it so bad.
This needs it really bad. I feel like
it's crazy because it's not even like a classic. You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It didn't open with the park or anything.
No,
it's just something
replaced a really great ride that I would rather be there still.
Not that you have a special
Not that I have a special place in my heart for Dreamflight.
Yeah,
but...
Morgan loved Dreamflight. But Space Ranger Spin is very much showing its age, especially now that there have been multiple iterations of Toy Story, Lightyear, Buzz Lightyear. There's just been so much Toy Story that it feels really stuck in time.
Yeah.
Stuck in the 90s in a derogatory bad way. Yeah. So I think that definitely needs to be
I would love something 90s themed, but this feels old. It doesn't feel very Disney anymore. It's
kind of sad.
Technologically behind.
Way behind, right.
Yeah.
So I would love to see that replaced with
I feel a little sad when I see that Buzz Lightyear in the queue.
I would be happy for them to even keep it Buzz Lightyear.
Me too.
That would be fine. Or if they want to go more modern with the IP.
But they do have a Toy Story land, so I wouldn't mind them switching it either.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know what new would fit. WALL-E. Give me WALL-E.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be... It's time for WALL-E.
Yeah.
Why isn't WALL-E in the park at all?
I don't know, but if he was going to be somewhere, that's where he should be. So.
Yeah.
I don't know what, you know what I mean? But it doesn't need to be a shooting... type ride, because what was there before was Dreamflight and it was not.
Yeah.
So, and I think that they were using the same track.
They are, yeah. Same track layout. I would be happy with even I guess even a cosmetic update would be a good thing. But honestly, since Toy Story Mania has entered the world.
Toy Story Mania is the new version.
Exactly.
We don't need two versions.
When Toy Story Mania began its existence, I thought, oh, this is the death sentence.
That's what I thought too.
Space Ranger Spin. Well, we're still waiting.
And I was okay with that.
And by the way, there is an Astro Blasters. There is a version of this on the other coast if anyone's really dying to
But they also have Toy Story Mania. So I'm not sure it needs to exist anymore. I think that they created a ride that is just the superior version of the same ride.
Time to go.
Yeah, time to go. Time to update. I'm okay losing this one entirely.
All right. Do you have another Tomorrowland entry?
We do.
All right.
Yeah. Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor.
Yeah.
But whatever. You know what I mean? Do people like this other than me?
It never has like a banana's weight.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it with a banana's weight?
I don't think so.
We don't ever check the wait time because we're not going. Morgan specifically hates crowd participation based activities and attractions.
I don't like comedy where they're bullying people. There's no place for this in Disney, in my personal opinion. But
I agree with that.
It sneaks in every once in a while.
An even bigger gripe I have with this is just that it feels boring if you've ever done it one single time.
Which is too bad because I love Monsters Inc. But look, we're about to get a Monsters Inc. land, so this should be like when Toy Story Land came, and these. So
it'll be around for 20 more years, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. These both of these two that we just mentioned have a really good reason to kind of go away and be rethought into something that makes more sense. Maybe next year we'll hear we're getting a Tomorrowland complete overhaul. We just mentioned 3 out of 5 rides in Tomorrowland. 3 out of 6.
Yeah, and one of the things is just nothing. What used to be Alien Encounter / Stitch's Great Escape.
Oh yeah, that's just an empty building.
That's just an empty building. Mm-hmm. So if there were ever a land that needed an update, and what's back there? Carousel of Progress?
Please don't touch Wedway or People Mover.
Of course not.
Is Tron considered Tomorrowland? I guess it is.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. My whatever I just said, 3 out of 6 is wrong.
Wow.
Jake keeps mentioning stuff. So
sorry.
No, Carousel of Progress, I want to stay, but I get it. I get that it goes 10-year change, 10-year change, 10-year change, 60-year change.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying it's not the most popular attraction.
Right.
So Tomorrowland is hurting everywhere. The
Yeah.
Speedway is ridiculous. Carousel of Progress is not popular.
Right.
That entire corridor entrance to Tomorrowland from the hub is outdated on all sides. It's just the land in our Magic Kingdom that needs the most help.
It needs
now.
help, yeah. And I
Tron
wonder
was
if
a
they,
Band-Aid for sure.
I wonder if they basically redid Tomorrowland and added a ride where Stitch was and replaced the 2 rides we just mentioned and updated Space Mountain, but left People Mover alone. I'm serious.
If you touch that People Mover.
I wonder if they did that, if there is an alternate entrance that people could get to Tron so they wouldn't have to shut that down since it's still brand new. That way they could do it, because I really think that this is a good idea.
Yeah, I think Tomorrowland, it needs it.
I don't care about Astral Orbiters, but I mean, that can stay up there. To me, it does nothing for me. But
yeah, if they have to close the People Mover to change it, just leave it be. It's fine.
Just don't. Here's why I'm concerned for those of you who haven't heard the one episode where we talked about this. Jake did a research project where he talked about the People Mover in Disneyland, and they updated it in a way that they had to close the whole thing forever because it was like breaking the foundation that it's on. And I'm like terrified.
I know. Talk about like worst case scenario.
Yeah, the People Mover is my favorite classic attraction. I know that sounds crazy, but I mean it's the one I always go back to.
In this house, we love the People Mover in this house. The people love the People Mover. They understand. Okay. It's got a lot of street cred. People love the People Mover. Good.
But yeah, so it sounds like we just want a Tomorrowland overhaul, and I think that would be smart. I don't even mind the what are we calling it? The past future.
Oh, retro,
the future of the past
aesthetic. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind that because I get they can't keep up with the future, so they've got to.
Right.
I don't mind that theming, but there's so many rides in there that are like, no.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just time.
Yeah.
You know?
We go back there for the People Mover and Carousel, especially if it's raining.
Right. Speaking of things that are supposed to be futuristic and optimistic, Journey into Imagination over at Epcot.
Oh,
I think,
you jumped.
Yes. Well, do you have anything left in?
You had Hall of Presidents on here. Oh, yes, and you have Thunder.
Oh, down in the
secondary.
The second. See, we divided some of these things by things that it would be cool if they got some type of update, but maybe they're not so in such a bad state that it's like high priority. But yes, I do think the Hall of Presidents and Big Thunder Mountain could both use some type of little zhuzhing. If they completely replace the Hall of Presidents, I wouldn't mind. But
I'd be fine with that too.
I know there are people who really enjoy it.
I like it from a historical point of view, but it's become so like controversial, polarizing. Yeah, I think that we should leave politics outside of the Disney parks because it's supposed to be a happy place where you're not thinking about the troubles of the world.
One time Morgan said to me, they should just, not the full musical or even an abbreviated version, but if they had entertainment inspired by using some of the songs from Hamilton in there, that's what she would like to see in there. And that blew my mind because I cannot think of a more relevant, pertinent, appealing to all age demographics solution.
Not controversial. We're talking about American history, not American politics in its current state. Like,
yes, and we're talking about one of the most successful forms of entertainment, or one of the most successful pieces of art that has existed in America in the past couple decades. I mean, everyone is at least surface level familiar with what Hamilton is.
Right.
So it to me makes a ton of sense.
Thank you. Yeah, and Thunder, you're right. I mean, I wouldn't mind Thunder being smoother. Goodness, that bat scene. I don't know how to make that not
earplugs.
Yeah, earplugs. I'm covering my ears in that section.
I think that I could use a couple animatronics in Big Thunder as well.
That'd be cool.
I think
a story.
Yeah, more of a story. I think is what it's actually missing. Yeah,
and maybe if they ultimately do the movie, they'll put in some stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, yeah, on the one hand, I would like it to be smoother. On the other hand, if it helps with kidney stones the way it is, I guess just leave it.
Yeah, leave the track to help with the kidney stones. Yeah. Those poor people, they gotta get the kidney stones out somehow.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. I will return to this Journey into Imagination thing.
Okay.
So, obviously, this ride received an infamous reimagining
Right.
back in the 90s. It got Journey into Your Imagination, which completely eliminated basically everything from the original iteration of the attraction, which was beloved in its time, and then was replaced by...
And this was because of a sponsorship change, am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
This was because of, I want to say, a Kodak sponsorship change.
To Kodak, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it got this big transformation because the original sponsorship agreement ended, and then the version that they replaced it with was universally hated, closed within 2 years, which is...
This is the problem with sponsorships. This used to happen on a regular basis.
Yeah.
The one I was talking about earlier, Dream Flight, before that, it was Eastern Airlines something, and then it changed to Delta Dream Flight. Like, when they changed sponsorships, the sponsor would make them change the whole ride, and it's kind of crazy.
Right, yeah.
I'm glad we don't deal with this anymore, for the most part.
Not so much, yeah.
There are sponsorships, but I haven't seen, like, a ride completely change because of it.
Right. And even in the case of Test Track, they have maintained the same sponsor.
Same sponsor,
throughout.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's nice.
Chevy.
Right. And that's good because, now that sponsor is allowing them to update that ride for the second time, which is good. Good for Chevy for working with Disney to keep the ride.
There's one
refreshed.
I probably would have mentioned if they hadn't decided to do it on their own. Okay, but back to Figment. Tell me what you're doing with Figment.
Back to Figment. If I had my way, this would we would be reintroducing the story of Figment and Dreamfinders as adventurers into the imagination who are looking to inspire their guests to open up their world to the possibilities that their mind can imagine, which was a beautiful and resonant theme for the original version of the attraction that really stuck with people.
Was the song different?
No.
The song was the same.
The song was the same. It went away when they first changed the ride, and it was one of the things that made its way back into the ride, like Figment, when people were so upset that they were gone.
Yeah, they took away Figment.
Because in that middle version, there was not only no Dreamfinder, but there was no Figment. And that's almost unbelievable because now everyone calls that ride Figment. So, and he's also low-key the mascot of Epcot.
Oh, yeah.
So, not even low-key. He's on all the festival stuff.
Yeah,
he's a huge, he's a huge part of the imagery.
I would say he's the mascot of Epcot. I think there are a couple others that, are in there.
Right.
Remy, obviously.
Yeah, especially for the festival side of things. Right. They love to utilize Remy, which, of course, you would for food and wine and all of that. But yeah, I would love to see this kind of go a little bit, just story-wise. I don't even care about specific sets, the specific plot of the attraction. I mean, I care. But
he says that now.
I know. I say I don't care, and then Tiana's Bayou Adventure comes out, and I care a lot.
Yeah.
But
we do care about story.
There can be freedom to come up with new concepts in those areas. I just want to see a little bit less of like a wacky, zany type of thing and a little bit more of like an inspiring...
By wacky and zany, I feel like you mean annoying.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is what
Just making sure we're on the same page.
Well, I mean like fart jokes.
That's what I mean. That's annoying.
Yeah. I think that what they've done with Figment, unfortunately, is make him into a nuisance.
I agree.
He was like a lovable... infant-like companion in the original version who was inspired by all the things that Dreamfinder was showing him. And so I would like to see that version of Figment come back because I also feel like that's a more lovable version of him for the guests as well. They deserve a Figment that you can love and not one that you low-key kind of don't like the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, I would definitely change it. I don't have any ideas, but...
Honestly, if you go on YouTube right now and you watch a ride through of the original ride, it becomes so clear to you that what's missing from the ride, so ironically, is any sense of imagination. Isn't that awful?
Yeah. Well, we're in like a doctor testing situation in the story plot of this ride, and I don't know. It's just and Jake and I like the dark rides. Like not that it's lacking thrills.
No. I don't need a thrill ride
Mm-mm.
to be told a story that inspires you and moves you, and
Yeah.
even if they do want to keep it quirky, let's say, I would be happy
You're
with
so
that
nice.
as long as it, as long as it did something to honor the thought of this is an attraction about the human imagination.
Yeah.
If the concept is this is an attraction about the human imagination stinks, like we
Yeah.
need to do a little bit better.
I also actually I do have kind of an idea. If they were going to do like a new story for this ride, I think because Figment is now, I'm sure this wasn't the case at the beginning, but is now basically the icon of the Epcot park, for it to include some Epcot history, maybe. Um,
Ooh.
Epcot inspiration.
Hold
I would really,
on.
really love that.
I love
It
that.
would really be nice for the super fans.
I got you.
Okay.
In the original Journey into Imagination, it was all about every room was a different way that people have used their imagination.
Okay.
Film was the finale, painting was one of them, artistic expression, dreams and nightmares was part of it. All of the ways that people think and use their imagination. If at the culmination of the ride, it transitions to dreamers, people using their imagination, are what shaped the world. And then it did some kind of like tribute to Walt Disney and his version of Epcot, or to the history of Epcot in general, which is all about imagination and hope and progress. All of those things are linked.
Yes.
That's why it's so part of the DNA of Epcot. I think if they went that route at the end, like a true, a tribute, I think that would be
amazing.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That would be beautiful.
That would be awesome.
A testament to what Epcot's all about.
Yeah.
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 We love Figment in here. We love the history of that ride, and we love...
I love Figment just as a character.
The character of Figment, exactly. So we've got strong opinions. But
yes.
You know us. We've got strong Disney opinions.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Morgan.
All right. We feel like Spaceship Earth, especially the end, needs a refurb.
Yeah.
It's hard because this one is I'm gonna upset my brother, and that's hard. Spaceship Earth is very nostalgic for us.
Yeah.
Right? It's very nostalgic for everyone. So I am absolutely not saying overhaul it.
No.
But the end with the pick your future thing is so bad. I can't.
Yeah. That is, for a ride about the future, for the technology
to be so bad
and outdated and ineffective. There's a sequence at the end of Spaceship Earth where it takes your picture and then inserts your head into
sometimes
a future that you've imagined via a game that you play on this touchscreen thing.
Well, you could be looking at awesome like animatronics and stuff like that. Instead, you're looking at a screen in front of you, and yeah.
Right. It hasn't always been this way.
It used to have animatronics.
Show scenes.
Beautiful, like city scene and lights and go on.
Televisual communication, all kinds of stuff. And now it's told on screen, and a lot of times the video effect does not work. So fragments of your head are in the video, your head's not in the video at all.
Last time Michael's head wasn't in the video at all.
It's a cartoon version of someone, it's not even you.
Right.
There's a lot of problems. And also, it's just on a screen on your ride vehicle, and there's no practical set around you at all. You're floating through a combination of darkness and office ceiling tiles above you. It just doesn't make it has no impact. It is a very lackluster post-finale sequence, if you could call it that, because they made, when you get to the top of the earth, the top of the ride, they basically made that into the finale, and they said, well, what happens on your way down happens, basically, is what we're doing now.
But it used to be all the stuff all around you the whole way down.
Because I really feel that it was like, okay, so that's the climax. You're at the top of the world, literally. So where do you go from there? How do you inspire people to take that to the future, to what advancements are happening around them currently. And right now, instead, it's like a video version. It's like, are you familiar with Jib Jab? You remember Jib Jab?
No.
It was a service in the 2000s. It was kind of early internet where you took a picture of you and you uploaded it to a website and it made a video for you of your head like talking in like these pre-programmed video things that you could send to your friends. Very fun. That is the technology they have in there right now.
Yeah, so I mean, absolute minimum. Why haven't they updated this technology just for that part? Even if you're going to leave it as a screen kind of game thing, instead of having these beautiful sets and animatronics around you, which is what we really want back. But even if you're going to leave it, why couldn't they just update it? That seems like an easy fix that wouldn't even require any downtime.
I would rather they fill that descent with fog and project visions of the future into the fog.
Yeah.
Even that would be more entertaining. I would rather they re-screens all around you showing different things than the current version. Sorry, not to harp on this too much. It's just a little frustrating.
Oh, it's so frustrating. I think this is one of the saddest parts of Epcot.
Especially being the icon of the park.
Yeah.
You kind of should show that a little bit of priority.
And other than that end scene, this is like one of my favorite rides.
Absolutely.
It's super nostalgic. There's just so many animatronics.
And I have no qualms with basically the entire ride experience all the way up until the end.
None of it. Like the Matrix part, I guess we've talked about being like kind of a screen of weird Matrix.
That's the point where I think we need to start looking at some changes. Is that Matrix little bit with the data transmission. When you get to the top there, it's like it's a little strange because you can see around you remnants of what used to be the finale of this, which was a moon landing type of situation.
Right.
And now those elements from the very first iteration of Spaceship Earth have been removed. So that's why when you're traveling through there and you see the weird like textures and the darkness going on around you.
I feel like they could change it and just paint some stuff and turn it into like a Mars landing and then be futuristic. I mean, we're not like doing that next year, so.
Or take the idea of that they had previously introduced with the Jeremy Irons, I believe 1990 something, update of Spaceship Earth where they introduced the world is more interconnected than ever. And they had a sequence where these beams of light connected different people.
That's what I'm talking about.
That would be cool at the top, too, because the world is now more connected than ever. So yes, you can have Earth there, but show us maybe all around the inside of the dome are different, like, little moments from people's lives that now everyone is in on, and you can show the transmission of that
feels kind of Horizons too. That's fun. That's fun.
I would just love to see them do something with the space in there and with the descent.
Yeah.
I think they need help.
I agree.
In the new Tiana's Bayou adventure, they say if your gumbo is hurtin', that you should add some of Tiana's hot sauce. And I think Spaceship Earth
needs some hot sauce.
Their gumbo is hurtin'.
Weird.
They need some hot sauce.
Is that it for Epcot?
I think so. I think we're on.
Oh, but you would change that Beauty and the Beast sing along. Yeah, we don't like
talk
that.
about that. You mean in the Impressions Difference Theater? I honestly forgot about that.
You did. I know, because
we did it once and we will never do it again. Felt like a VHS bonus feature in there.
That's what it was. All right.
You're now watching Disney Fast Play.
Yep.
Okay, so we could go on and on. Humble brag. We have enough imagination to continue this.
To fill the Imagination Pavilion.
Oh, of course, and beyond. So we're going to make this one into 2 parts. If you've enjoyed part 1, thank you so much for listening and watching. If you would like to see the visual version of the podcast and you're listening, you can check us out on our YouTube channel, Neverland Navigation Co. Or if you want to check us out on social media, you can find us at Neverland Navco on Instagram and on TikTok, and we would love to continue the conversation with you over there.
Yeah, send us a comment. We also have an Etsy shop. It's called Neverland Navigation on Etsy, and we make custom t-shirts. So if you want a custom t-shirt for yourself or for a significant other or your child or whatever who's a Disney fan, send us a message and tell us what their favorite attraction is or favorite ride. We'll send some options and get you a perfect gift for yourself or for somebody else. If you are thinking about taking a trip, please, please, please email me at neverlandnavigationco@gmail.com. Same amount of money that you would spend booking yourself, except I book it for you, I do deal monitoring, and you get free shirts. It's like a win-win, and you're helping our small business.
Yeah, there's nothing more magical than making your vacation planning easier and getting a shirt for free.
Yeah.
A whole set of them. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching, and we've got to record part 2 of this, so we'll see you on our next adventure. Goodbye.